The small research ship landed on planet KX-4193 3 months ago. Since then, the team of humans and aliens worked together to study the strange plants and animals that lived there. The planet had tall purple trees and weird six-legged animals that the scientists had never seen before. Jack Miller was one of the human scientists on the team. He was a tall man with short brown hair and eyes that showed his love for discovery. Jack studied biology and knew a lot about how living things adapted to harsh places. He came to KX-419 because it was the perfect place to test his ideas about how life could survive in extreme conditions. The alien team members were called Xenovians. They looked like tall blue humanoids with 4 arms and large eyes that could see in the dark. The head alien doctor was named Zixtal. He always acted like he knew more than the humans and worried that they were too weak for this dangerous planet. "Your human bodies are not made for this place," Zixtal said to Jack as they walked through the thick purple forest. "There are many things here that could kill you in minutes." Jack just smiled at the alien doctor. "Humans have survived all kinds of dangers back on Earth. We're tougher than we look." Zixtal made a clicking sound that meant he did not believe. Jack, the alien doctor, carried many medical tools and scanners that he used to check the air and plants as they walked. The other team members spread out to collect samples from the strange trees and bush. The morning went by without problems. The team found some new plant types and took pictures of small flying creatures that looked like a mix between birds and lizards. After they ate lunch, Jack suggested they check out a cave system they spotted on their map. "The scanner shows some interesting energy readings coming from inside," Jack said as he pointed to the dark opening in the side of a hill. "We should take a look." Zixtal did not like this idea. Caves on this planet often contain dangerous life forms. We should wait for better equipment. But Jack was already walking toward the cave entrance. "We have lights and scanners. That's all we need for a quick look." The rest of the team followed Jack into the cave. They turned on their bright lights that made the stone walls glow with tiny blue crystals. The cave was bigger than it looked from outside and went deep into the hill. "These crystal formations are amazing," said Mary Clark, another human scientist, who studied rocks and minerals. She was a short woman with red hair tied back in a ponytail. "They seem to react to our presence." The team walked deeper into the cave system. Their footsteps echoed on the stone floor. The air got cooler and smelled like wet earth. Jack noticed strange marks on the walls that looked like they were made on purpose. "Look at this," he called to the others. "These might be signs of intelligent life." The team gathered around to look at the marks. They were simple shapes carved into the stone wall. Some looked like stars while others resembled waves or mountains. "These are very old," said Zixtal as he scanned them with his device. "Perhaps thousands of years old." While they were studying the wall markings, no one noticed the movement in the shadows behind them. A creature had been watching them since they entered its home. It was about the size of a large dog, but looked nothing like any Earth animal. It had a body covered in black scales, 6 legs with sharp claws, and a head with multiple glowing red eyes. The creature moved silently toward the team. It sensed their body heat and was curious about these strangers in its territory. When Jack stepped away from the group to examine another wall section, the creature saw its chance. It leaped from the darkness so fast that no one had time to shout a warning. Its powerful legs launched it straight at Jack before he could turn around. The creature sank its fangs into his arm. Jack yelled in pain and surprise. He swung his other arm and knocked the creature away. It hissed at him and then disappeared back into the dark tunnel before anyone could catch it. "Jack, are you hurt?" Mary ran to his side while the other team members pointed their lights in old directions to make sure the creature was gone. "It bit me," Jack said, holding his arm where 2 small puncture marks were already turning green around the edges. The pain was spreading up his arm like fire in his veins. Zixtal pushed through the group and grabbed Jack's arm. The alien doctor pulled out his medical scanner and ran it over the wound. His large eyes grew even wider as he read the results. "This is very bad," Zixtal said in a serious voice. "The creature has injected you with a powerful toxin. My scanner shows it is fatal to all carbon-based life forms I have studied. The team fell silent. They looked at Jack with worry and fear on their faces. How long do I have? Jack asked in a calm voice that surprised everyone. Zixtal checked his scanner. Again, based on how fast the toxin is spreading, I estimate you have 1 hour before complete organ failure. Mary grabbed Jack's good arm. We need to get back to the ship right now. Maybe we can create an antidote. The team started moving quickly toward the cave entrance. Jack walked between 2 team members who helped support him as the pain got worse. The green color was spreading up his arm, and he could feel his heart beating faster than normal. When they reached the cave entrance and stepped back into the sunlight, Jack stopped walking. He looked down at his arm where the bite marks were. Then he did something that confused everyone. He smiled. Zixtal, I think you should take another look at this, Jack said as he held out his arm. The alien doctor reluctantly scanned the wound. Again, he stared at his scanner in disbelief. This cannot be right, Zixtal said. The scanner shows the toxin is no longer spreading. In fact, it appears to be breaking down. That's what I thought might happen, Jack said, still smiling. You see, humans have something special in our blood. We've evolved alongside thousands of venomous creatures on Earth. Our bodies have learned to fight all kinds of toxins. The green color around the bite marks was already fading. Jack could feel the burning sensation decreasing. The team watched in amazement as the human's body fought off what should have been a deadly poison. Impossible, Zixtal whispered. No species I know of could survive that toxin. Jack patted the alien doctor on his shoulder. There's a lot about humans you still don't know. When we get back to the ship, I'd like to give you some blood samples. I think you'll find them very interesting. As they walked back to their ship, the alien team members kept their distance from Jack, looking at him with new respect and a little fear. They had just witnessed something they thought impossible. A human had survived a bite that would have killed any of them in minutes. Jack smiled as he walked. He knew this was just the beginning of what they would learn about each other on this strange purple planet. Back at the research base, Jack sat on a medical bed while Zixtal ran more tests on his blood. The alien doctor moved his forearms quickly as he worked with different machines and scanners. The bite marks on Jack's arm were now just 2 small red dots. All the green color was gone and the pain had stopped. This makes no sense, Zixtal said as he looked at the test results. Your body has not only stopped the toxin, but is actually using parts of it for something else. Jack smiled as he watched the confused alien. Our bodies are good at adapting. Humans have faced thousands of poisons and diseases throughout our history. The ones who survived passed their stronger immune systems to their children. Mary Clark entered the medical room carrying her own scanner. She had been studying the data from Jack's blood tests. I think I see what's happening. Jack's white blood cells are breaking down the toxin and turning it into something his body can use. Zixtal made a clicking sound that showed he was excited. This is very unusual. In my many years as a medical officer, I have never seen anything like this. The other members of the research team started coming into the medical room. They all wanted to see the human who survived the deadly bite. Some of the alien team members kept their distance as if Jack might be dangerous. Can you make copies of these scans? Asked Ben Carter, the team leader. He was an older man with gray hair and a serious face. The science team back on Earth will want to study this right away? Jack got off the medical bed and stretched his arms. I feel fine now. Actually, I feel better than before, like I have more energy. Zixtal scanned Jack again with his medical device. Your body temperature is slightly higher than normal human levels. Your heart rate is also faster, but within safe limits. It seems your body is working harder than usual. Maybe fighting off the toxin burned a lot of calories, Mary suggested. Jack should eat something and rest. But Jack didn't feel like resting. I want to go back to that cave tomorrow. We need to learn more about that creature that bit me. Ben shook his head. That's too dangerous. We should wait for the security team to arrive next week. They have better equipment to deal with hostile life forms. I don't think the creature was trying to attack me, Jack said. It seemed more curious than angry. It could have done more damage if it wanted to. The team talked about what to do next. Some wanted to continue exploring, while others thought they should be more careful after what happened. In the end, Ben decided they would stay near the base for the next few days and process the samples they already collected. That night, Jack had strange dreams. He saw the cave and the creature with glowing red eyes, but in his dream he wasn't afraid of it. He felt like he understood it somehow. When he woke up the next morning, his body felt different, stronger. At breakfast, the team noticed that Jack was eating more than usual. He filled his plate 3 times with food. "Hungry today?" Mary asked with a smile. "Starving," Jack replied between bites. "It feels like I haven't eaten in days." After breakfast, Zixtal asked to check Jack's condition. Again, the alien doctor seemed worried about the changes in the human's body. "Your temperature is still higher than normal," Zixtal said after scanning Jack. "And there are unusual proteins in your blood that were not there yesterday. I think the toxin has changed something in your body." Jack rolled up his sleeve too. "Look at the bite marks, but they were completely gone. Not even a scar was left to show where the creature's fangs had pierced his skin." "That's impossible," Zixtal said when he saw the clean skin. "No wound heals that fast naturally." "Maybe the toxin had some benefits after all," Jack suggested. For the next 2 days, the team stayed near the base as Ben had ordered. They organized their samples and wrote reports about the planet's plants and animals, but Jack grew more restless with each passing hour. He kept thinking about the cave and the creature that bit him. On the 3rd night after the bite, Jack couldn't sleep. He got out of bed and looked out the window at the purple forest in the moonlight. Without really deciding to do it, he got dressed and quietly left his room. The base was quiet as everyone else was sleeping. Jack took a small pack with water and some basic supplies. He also grabbed a handlight and a communication device. He knew Ben would be angry when he found out, but Jack felt drawn to the cave. He had to go back. The night air was cool as Jack walked through the forest. Strange glowing insects flew around. The trees and small nocturnal animals scurried away as he passed. Jack noticed that he could see better in the dark than before. The moonlight seemed brighter, and he could make out details that should have been hidden in shadow when he reached the cave entrance. Jack turned on his hand light and went inside. The blue crystals on the walls glowed in response to the light just like before. Jack moved deeper into the cave system, following the path they had taken days ago. When he reached the place where the creature had attacked him, Jack stopped and turned off his light. The cave should have been completely dark, but he could still see the walls and floor. The glowing crystals provided just enough light for his eyes, which seemed to have become more sensitive. "I know you're here," Jack said quietly to the darkness. "I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to understand." Several minutes, nothing happened. Then Jack heard a soft scraping sound as claws moved across stone. From a side tunnel, the creature appeared. Its black scales shined in the dim blue light, and its multiple red eyes glowed as it looked at Jack. The creature stayed at a distance, watching the human carefully. Jack remained still, letting the animal decide what to do. Slowly, the creature moved closer, sniffing the air around Jack. "That's right," Jack whispered. "You remember me." The creature made a low humming sound. It circled around Jack, keeping a few feet away. Then it did something surprising. It sat down on its back legs and tilted its head as if studying the human. Jack carefully reached into his pack and took out a small piece of dried meat he had brought. He held it out in his open palm. The creature's eyes focused on the food. After a moment of hesitation, it moved forward and quickly took the meat from Jack's hand without touching his skin. As the creature ate, Jack noticed something strange. He could feel what it was feeling. Not clearly like his own emotions, but as a dim awareness in the back of his mind. The creature was curious but cautious. It wasn't afraid of him anymore. "The toxin did more than just not kill me," Jack whispered. To himself, it created some kind of connection between us. Jack spent several hours in the cave with the creature. He discovered it was intelligent and could understand simple commands. He named it Shadow because of its dark color and ability to move silently through the darkness. When the first light of dawn appeared outside the cave, Jack knew he had to return to the base. The team would be looking for him soon. "I'll come back," he told Shadow before leaving. The creature watched him go with its glowing red eyes. Back at the base, everyone was awake and worried about Jack's disappearance. Ben was organizing a search party when Jack walked in. "Where have you been?" Ben demanded. "We thought something had happened to you." "I went back to the cave," Jack admitted, "and I found something amazing. The creature that bit me, it's intelligent, and I think the toxin didn't just change me, it connected us somehow." Zixtel stepped forward with his scanner. "Your body chemistry has changed even more since yesterday. These readings are unlike any human baseline I have ever recorded," Jack smiled. "I think this is just the beginning. The bite wasn't fatal. It was a transformation." Ben called an emergency meeting after Jack returned from the cave. The whole team gathered in the main room of the research base. Everyone looked at Jack with a mix of worry and curiosity. He sat in a chair in the middle of the room while Zixtel continued to scan him. "So you went back to the cave alone without telling anyone," Ben said with anger in his voice. "And now you claim to have some kind of connection with the creature that nearly killed you," Jack nodded. "I know it sounds crazy, but something has changed in me. I can sense Shadow's presence even now when it's back in the cave." "Shadow? You named it?" Mary asked. "It felt right," Jack said. "And I think it understands names. It responds when I call it." Zixtel showed the scan results to Ben. The human's blood contains new compounds that were not there before. His body temperature remains elevated and his brain activity shows unusual patterns, especially in the areas responsible for sensory input. The team discussed what to do next. Some thought Jack should be sent back to Earth for more tests. Others wanted to study the creature that bit him. Ben finally made a decision. "We need to report this to headquarters. In the meantime, Jack will remain under medical observation. No one goes to that cave alone. We'll send a research team with proper equipment tomorrow." Jack didn't like being treated like he was sick, but he agreed to stay in the medical room for the night. Zixtel set up monitors to track his vital signs while he slept. But Jack couldn't sleep. He felt a pull toward the cave and Shadow. The connection between them seemed to be getting stronger. In the middle of the night, an alarm sounded throughout the base. The team rushed to the main entrance. Something was trying to get in. The security cameras showed a dark shape scratching at the door. "It's Shadow," Jack said as he joined the others. "It followed my scent back to the base." Ben ordered everyone to stay back while he checked the security system. "The outer door is damaged. It might get through." "Let me talk to it," Jack suggested. "I can calm it down." "Absolutely not," Ben replied. "That thing is dangerous. We need to protect the team." But before anyone could stop him, Jack walked to the door controls and pressed the button to open the outer door. Shadow slipped inside quickly before the door closed again. The creature stood in the entrance room looking at the humans and aliens with its glowing red eyes. "Jack, are you crazy?" Mary whispered, "What have you done?" But Jack calmly walked toward Shadow. The creature made a soft humming sound when it saw him. Jack reached out his hand and Shadow pressed its head against his palm. The connection between them flared brighter in Jack's mind. He could feel Shadow's thoughts more clearly now. "It's okay," Jack told the others. "Shadow isn't here to hurt anyone. It's curious about us." Slowly, the team's fear turned to amazement as they watched Jack communicate with the alien creature. Shadow stayed close to Jack but allowed the others to approach one at a time. Zixtel was especially interested and scanned both Jack and Shadow. "The same compounds I found in Jack's blood are present in the creature's saliva," the alien doctor reported. The toxin created a biological link between them. Over the next few days, the team studied Shadow and its relationship with Jack. They discovered that the creature was part of a species that lived deep in the cave systems across the planet. Zixtel named them Umbra lupus, which meant Shadow Volf. In an old Earth language, Shadow stayed at the base and seemed happy to be part of the team. It learned quickly and could understand simple instructions from everyone, not just Jack, but the special connection remained only between Shadow and Jack. 1 week after Shadow joined them at the base, Zixtel made an important discovery. He had Been analyzing blood samples from Jack every day. The changes in your blood are stabilizing. Your body has fully adapted to the toxin and is now producing its own version of it. What does that mean? Jack asked. It means your body has incorporated genetic material from Shadow's species. You are now partly Umbra lupus at a cellular level. This news shocked everyone, especially Jack. Am I still human? Zixtal made a gentle clicking sound that showed sympathy. Yes, you are still human, but with something extra. Your DNA has been enhanced, not replaced. Jack thought about this for a while. Then he smiled. So I'm better than before. In some ways, yes, Zixtal agreed. Your senses are sharper. Your body heals faster. You have a telepathic connection with Shadow. These are abilities humans do not normally have. The team sent all their research data back to Earth headquarters. The response came quickly. Scientists there were very excited about the discovery. They wanted Jack and Shadow to return to Earth for more studies, but they also issued a warning. No one else should risk being bitten. The toxin might affect each person differently and could be deadly. Ben showed Jack the message from headquarters. They're sending a transport ship next week to take you and Shadow back to Earth. Jack wasn't sure how he felt about this. He had come to love this strange purple planet and didn't want to leave yet. What about the rest of the research mission? It will continue, Ben assured him. But you've become too valuable to risk out. Here, the medical team on Earth needs to study what happened to you. That night, Jack sat outside the base with Shadow beside him. They watched the 3 moons of KX-419 rise in the sky. Through their mental link, Jack shared his feelings with Shadow. The creature understood that they would be leaving soon. The next morning, a new alarm sounded. It wasn't the base alarm, but the emergency signal from another research team on the far side of the planet. Ben quickly established communication with them. This is Research Base 2. We need immediate medical assistance. 3 team members were attacked by large predators during a survey mission. 2 are injured but stable. Dr. Carrie Peterson is in critical condition. The med unit can't neutralize the toxin in her system. Jack stepped forward. What kind of toxin? The voice from Base 2 responded. Unknown. Our medical officer says it's breaking down her red blood cells. She has maybe 6 hours left. Zixtal ran a quick analysis. Based on the symptoms, it sounds similar to what was in Shadow's bite, but more aggressive. Their team must have encountered a different species. We need to help them, Jack said. Ben looked doubtful. Base 2 is on the other side of the planet. Even with our fastest shuttle, it would take 5 hours to reach them. By then it might be too late. We have to try, Jack insisted. And I might be able to help Dr. Peterson when we get there. How? Ben asked. Jack rolled up his sleeve and pointed to where Shadow had bitten him. My blood contains antibodies against a similar toxin. It might work against this one too. Zixtal considered this. It's possible. Your enhanced blood might neutralize the other toxin, or at least slow it down until we can develop a proper treatment. Then let's go, Jack said. We don't have time to waste. Ben agreed and ordered the shuttle prepared for immediate departure. Jack, Shadow, Zixtal, and Mary boarded the small craft. As they flew toward Base 2, Jack wondered if his strange new abilities would be enough to save Dr. Peterson's life. He hoped they would reach her in time. The shuttle flew fast through the morning sky of planet KX-419. Jack sat near a window watching the purple forests and blue mountains pass below them. Shadow curled up at his feet, making soft humming sounds. Zixtal was busy preparing medical equipment in the back of the shuttle. Mary sat across from Jack, reviewing data on her tablet. We'll be at Base 2 in about 4 hours, the pilot called from the front. I'm pushing the engines as much as I can. Jack nodded but felt worried. Dr. Peterson only had 6 hours when the call came in. They might reach her with just 2 hours to spare. He hoped it would be enough time. Do you think your blood will really help her? Mary asked Jack. I don't know for sure, Jack admitted. But it's the best chance she has right now. Zixtal joined them from the back of the shuttle. I have prepared everything we might need to filter your blood and create a basic antitoxin. But I must warn you that your blood has changed significantly. What helps you might harm another human. This was a risk Jack had already considered. We'll test it carefully before giving it to her. Maybe we can try a very small dose first? As they flew toward Base 2, Jack thought about how much his life had changed in just a few days. He came to this planet as a normal human scientist. Now he was something more. The bite that should have killed him had instead made him stronger and connected him to Shadow. He wondered what other changes might still happen to him. Shadow suddenly lifted its head and looked at Jack. Through their mental link, Jack felt the creature's concern. Shadow sensed his worry and was trying to comfort him. "It's okay," Jack said softly as he stroked Shadow's smooth scales. "We'll figure this out together." After 4 hours of flying, the shuttle began to descend toward Base 2. This research station was smaller than their own base and sat on the edge of a large lake. The water was deep purple instead of blue and steamed slightly in the morning air. Soon as they landed, a woman ran out to meet them. She wore a science team uniform with a medical symbol on the shoulder. Her face showed she was very worried. "I'm Dr. Susan Adams," she said as they exited the shuttle. "Thank you for coming so quickly. Dr. Peterson's condition is getting worse. The toxin is attacking her nervous system now." They hurried inside the base. Dr. Peterson lay on a bed in the medical room. Her skin was pale with blue lines spreading across her arms and neck. A medical monitor beeped steadily beside her, showing her weakening vital signs. 2 other team members sat nearby with bandages on their arms and legs. Zixtal immediately began scanning Dr. Peterson. "The toxin is similar to what was in Shadow's bite, but more aggressive. It attacks the blood cells and nervous system simultaneously. Can we help her?" Jack asked. "Perhaps," Zixtal said, "but we must work quickly." The alien doctor set up his equipment and took a sample of Jack's blood. Shadow stayed close to Jack, watching everything with curious red eyes. Some of the Base 2 team members looked nervous about having the creature inside, but no one said anything. Zixtal worked fast, mixing Jack's blood with different chemicals and running tests. After 30 minutes, he had created a small amount of clear liquid. "This contains antibodies from Jack's blood that should fight the toxin," Zixtal explained to Dr. Adams. "But it is untested. There are risks." Dr. Adams looked at Dr. Peterson, whose breathing had become shallow. "We don't have many options left. How do we use it?" "A small injection first," Zixtal said. "Then we monitor her response carefully." They gave Dr. Peterson a tiny amount of the treatment. Then they waited. For 10 minutes, nothing seemed to change. The blue lines on her skin remained, and her vital signs stayed weak. "It's not working," Dr. Adams said with disappointment in her voice. But then Dr. Peterson's heart monitor showed a slight improvement. Her breathing became more regular. The blue lines didn't disappear, but they stopped spreading. "The treatment is slowing the toxin," Zixtal announced. "But it is not enough to reverse the damage already done." Jack stepped closer to the bed. "What? If we gave her more?" "That could be dangerous," Zixtal warned. "Too much might cause her immune system to attack itself." Jack thought for a moment, then he had an idea. "What if I could help her body fight the toxin directly? Like how Shadow and I are connected?" Everyone looked confused by this suggestion. Jack turned to Shadow and through their mental link asked for help. The creature seemed to understand and moved to the side of Dr. Peterson's bed. "What are you doing?" Dr. Adams asked nervously. "I think I can create a temporary connection between Dr. Peterson and myself," Jack explained. "My body knows how to fight this toxin. Maybe I can show her body how to do it too." Zixtal seemed skeptical but didn't stop Jack as he placed one hand on Dr. Peterson's arm and his other hand on Shadow. Jack closed his eyes and concentrated on the connection he shared with Shadow. He tried to extend that connection to include Dr. Peterson. At first nothing happened. Then Jack felt a strange tingling sensation in his arm where he touched Dr. Peterson. The feeling spread up his arm and into his chest. Through his closed eyes he could sense both Shadow and now faintly Dr. Peterson too. "Her vital signs are improving," Dr. Adams said with surprise in her voice. Jack kept his eyes closed, focusing on the connection. He could feel the toxin in Dr. Peterson's body. It was similar to what had been in his own blood, but stronger. Jack focused on how his body had fought. The toxin. He tried to share that knowledge through their connection. Minutes passed as everyone watched in silence. The blue lines on Dr. Peterson's skin slowly began to fade. Her breathing became stronger and her heart rate stabilized. After nearly an hour, Jack finally opened his eyes and removed his hands. He felt tired but happy. I think it worked. Zixtal scanned Dr. Peterson again. The toxin levels are dropping rapidly. Her body is fighting it successfully now. Dr. Adams checked the medical monitors. All her vital signs are returning to normal. This is amazing. How did you do it? Jack wasn't sure he could explain it properly. I shared what my body learned about fighting the toxin. I showed her immune system what to do. You transmitted knowledge through touch? Dr. Adams asked in disbelief. Not exactly knowledge, Jack said. More like instinct. My body taught her body. While they were talking, Dr. Peterson's eyes fluttered open. She looked confused as she saw all the people gathered around her bed. What happened? She asked in a weak voice. Dr. Adams quickly explained about the attack and how Jack had helped save her life. Dr. Peterson looked at Jack with wonder and then noticed Shadow standing beside him. Is that one of the creatures that attacked us? She asked with fear in her voice. No, Jack assured her. Shadow is different. The creatures that attacked your team were probably another species. Shadow helped me save you. Over the next few hours, Dr. Peterson continued to improve. The blue lines disappeared completely from her skin, and she was able to sit up and eat some food. Zixtal monitored her closely for any signs of problems, but found none. Your recovery is remarkable, the alien doctor told her. But I want to continue running tests to make sure there are no lasting effects. While Zixtal worked with Dr. Peterson, Jack and Mary spoke with the other members of Base 2 about the attack. They described creatures that were larger than Shadow, with 6 legs and bony plates on their backs. They lived in the dense forest near the Purple Lake and had ambushed the research team during a routine survey. We've seen signs of them near our base too, Mary said. But they never came close enough for us to study. Jack wondered if these larger creatures were related to Shadow's species. Perhaps they were all part of the same evolutionary family, but had developed different characteristics. He was curious to learn more about them. As evening approached, Dr. Peterson was strong enough to join everyone for dinner. She sat next to Jack and asked many questions about his experience with Shadow and how the connection between them worked. Do you think I might develop similar abilities? She asked. Since you helped my body fight the toxin the same way yours did. I don't know, Jack answered honestly. The connection I have with Shadow came from direct contact with the toxin. In its bite, what you experienced was different. But Jack wondered if some of his changed blood cells might have transferred to Dr. Peterson during their connection. Only time would tell if she developed any new abilities. For now, he was just glad she was alive and recovering. The next morning, Jack woke up early. He looked out the window of Base 2 at the Purple Lake. Mist rose from the water in the cool morning air. Shadow sat beside him, watching the strange flying creatures that skimmed across the lake's surface. We should head back to our base today, Jack said to Shadow. The transport ship from Earth will arrive soon. Jack still had mixed feelings about returning to Earth. He had discovered so much on this alien planet and felt a connection to it now. Part of him wanted to stay and learn more about Shadow's species and the other creatures that lived here. Zixtal entered the room carrying his medical scanner. Good morning, Jack. I would like to do one final check on you and Dr. Peterson before we leave. Jack nodded and followed the alien doctor to the medical room. Dr. Peterson was already there, sitting on the edge of a bed. She looked much better than yesterday. Her skin had a healthy color again, and her eyes were bright and alert. How do you feel today? Jack asked her. Amazing, actually, she replied with a smile. Better than before the attack. I feel like I have more energy and my mind seems clearer somehow. Zixtal scanned them both and studied the results with great interest. Fascinating. Dr. Peterson, your blood now contains some of the same compounds that appeared in Jack's blood after his bite. The connection you two shared yesterday transferred more than just immunity to the toxin. What does that mean? Dr. Peterson asked. It means you may develop some of the same enhanced abilities that Jack has, Zixtel explained. Though perhaps to a lesser degree since the transfer was indirect. Dr. Peterson looked at Jack with excitement in her eyes. Can you show me how to use these abilities? How to connect with creatures like you do with Shadow? Before Jack could answer, a loud alarm sounded throughout the base. Everyone rushed to the main room where Dr. Adams was looking at a security screen. We have multiple contacts approaching from the forest, she said, pointing at the screen. They look like the same creatures that attacked our team. On the screen, they could see large six-legged creatures moving toward the base. They looked similar to Shadow but were bigger with bony plates on their backs and larger fangs. There were at least 10 of them moving together as a group. They're hunting, Jack sighed. He could feel Shadow's tension through their mental link. Shadow is afraid of them. They're a rival species that competes for territory. Will the base security keep them out? Mary asked. Dr. Adams nodded. The doors and windows are reinforced, but we were planning to send a team out today to collect samples from the lake. Now we'll have to delay that. Jack walked closer to the security screen and studied the creatures. Through his connection with Shadow, he was picking up more information about these larger predators. They're called Drath in Shadow's mental language. They hunt in packs and are very aggressive. You can understand Shadow's thoughts that clearly. Now? Zixtel asked with surprise. More and more each day, Jack said. The connection keeps getting stronger. The team watched as the Drath creatures circled the base looking for a way in. They scratched at the doors and windows but couldn't break through the reinforced materials. After about an hour, they retreated back to the forest edge but didn't leave completely. They're waiting for us to come out, Jack said. They're very patient hunters. Then we're trapped here, Dr. Adams said with worry in her voice. We can't risk going outside while they're there. Jack thought about the situation. Then he had an idea. What if I could communicate with them like I do with Shadow? Maybe I could convince them to leave us alone. Everyone looked at Jack like he was crazy. That's too dangerous, Mary said. These aren't like Shadow. They've already attacked humans once. I know it's risky, Jack admitted, but we can't stay locked in here forever. And the shuttle needs to take us back to our base today. Dr. Peterson stepped forward. I'll help you. If I've gained some of your abilities, maybe together we can establish a stronger connection. Zixtel and the others argued against this plan, but Jack and Dr. Peterson were determined to try. They agreed to be very careful and stay just inside the base door where they could quickly retreat to safety if needed. Jack, Shadow, and Dr. Peterson stood at the main door while the others watched from a safe distance. Jack asked Dr. Adams to open the outer door but keep the inner security door closed. This would allow them to see the Drath creatures but remain protected behind a clear barrier. When the outer door opened, 3 of the large predators immediately approached. They growled and scratched at the clear security door, investigating the humans on the other side. Shadow stayed behind Jack, making soft humming sounds that showed it was nervous. Now we try to connect with them, Jack said to Dr. Peterson. Focus on projecting feelings of peace and respect, not fear. Jack placed one hand on the security door and his other hand on Shadow. Dr. Peterson did the same, standing next to him. They both closed their eyes and concentrated on reaching out with their minds toward the Drath creatures. At first Jack felt only Shadow's familiar presence. Then gradually he became aware of Dr. Peterson's mind joining with his. Their connection was different from his link with Shadow, but still strong. Together they pushed their awareness outward toward the creatures on the other side of the door. The Drath creatures stopped growling and tilted their heads as if listening to something. One of them, the largest, pressed its head against the door, directly opposite Jack's hand. Jack felt a new consciousness touch his mind. It was wild and fierce, but also intelligent. We come in peace, Jack projected toward the creature, using thoughts rather than words. We mean no harm to you or your territory. The Drath leader sent back a jumble of images and feelings. Jack understood that these creatures were territorial, and saw the humans as invaders. They attacked the research team because they had entered a sacred hunting ground near the lake. We didn't know, Jack sent back. We are visitors learning about this world. We respect your territories and will avoid your sacred places. For several minutes, Jack, Dr. Peterson, and the Drath leader communicated through this mental link. Jack explained who the humans were and why they had come to the planet. The Drath shared knowledge about the different territories of the planet, and which areas they considered their domain. Finally, the Drath leader stepped back from the door. It made a low rumbling sound, and the other creatures responded. Slowly, they all turned and walked back toward the forest. Jack and Dr. Peterson opened their eyes, feeling tired but successful. They're leaving, Jack said to the others. We've reached an understanding. They won't attack humans again as long as we respect their territory boundaries. That was amazing, Dr. Peterson said. I could feel their minds. They're much more intelligent than we thought. Dr. Adams and her team were amazed by what they had witnessed. You actually communicated with them. This changes everything we thought we knew about the species on this planet. Later that day, Jack, Mary, Zixtel, and Shadow boarded the shuttle. To return to their base, Dr. Peterson decided to stay at Base 2 to continue studying the mental communication abilities she had developed. She promised to share all her findings with Jack. As the shuttle lifted off, Jack looked down at the purple forests and lake below. In just 1 week, his entire understanding of life and biology had changed. The bite that an alien medic said would be fatal had instead opened up a new world of possibilities. The transport ship from Earth would arrive tomorrow to take Jack and Shadow back for more studies. Jack wasn't afraid of what they might find. He knew now that humans had amazing potential, waiting to be unlocked. His experience might lead to new medical treatments and ways for humans to communicate with other species. Shadow pressed against Jack's leg and sent feelings of contentment through their link. Together they had started something important. The connection between different species that once seemed impossible was now just the beginning. Jack smiled as he thought about the future and all they might discover. As the shuttle flew over the alien landscape, Jack remembered the moment when Zixtel had told him the bite would be fatal. The alien medic had been so certain. Jack smiled at the memory. Sometimes what seems like the end is really just a new beginning.